Okay, then we shall start. So welcome everybody. Thank you for joining this webinar where we will talk about the EIT Raw Materials Labelled Master's Program AMIR, Advanced Materials Innovative Recycling. I just want to remind you before we get started that this webinar is being recorded. So if you do choose to interact, ask questions by speaking, and we very much hope that you do, please be aware that your image and or voice will later be visible to others who watch the recording. Of course, if you do not wish to appear on the recording, you can also ask your questions and interact via the chat. So that's just a little information. So, of course, as we go through, you are welcome to ask your questions, to raise your hand or to type in the chat. But we will also have plenty of time in a little bit later for you to ask your questions. We have with us today the program coordinator of AMIR, that is Sophie, and we have some students with us from AMIR as well, who will be the very best people to ask about their experiences. Yeah, lots of people here with different points of view. And my name is Ferdy Bulmer, and I am part of the education team at EIT Raw Materials. Now, you may be asking yourself, what is EIT Raw Materials? So before we get to the AMIR program specifically, I'm going to give you a little introduction to the EIT Raw Materials Academy, our master's programs, and what it means to be an EIT-labelled student. I won't take too long on this, and after I finished, we will then move along with Sophie, who will give you a little background to the AMIR program, and then we'll get to the point where we can discuss with the students themselves their experiences on the program, their recommendations, etc. Thomas, Gabriel, and Marta, please do feel free to jump in at any point when I'm speaking as well, if I've missed something important, yeah? So don't be shy. Good, so EIT Raw Materials, what is EIT? Well, EIT is actually a body of the European Union. It exists to boost innovation and actually specifically to empower innovators and entrepreneurs to develop innovative solutions to global challenges and create jobs and growth for Europe. So this is the purpose of the EIT, but how do we actually go about that? The EIT exists to connect the three different sides of what we call the knowledge triangle. So that includes universities, it includes companies, and it includes research organizations. So EIT runs a number of projects, all of which include at least two of those different types of organization, and all of which aim to boost innovation and entrepreneurship in the economy in Europe. So you can see here on our diagram, which shows how it's all supposed to fit together. Specifically, I said that we work on societal challenges, and the EIT has a number of different innovation communities which work on different areas of the economy, different societal challenges. So you can see here on the presentation the different innovation communities that we have. And today, of course, we are talking about advanced materials innovative recycling, and we are part of EIT Raw Materials. And the purpose of EIT Raw Materials, or the mission, I should say, is to develop raw materials into a major strength for Europe. And that is what we are doing here at EIT Raw Materials. Why? Well, what is the purpose of that? Well, as I expect many of you know, the number, complexity, and quantity of materials that we are using in our everyday lives is increasing at a massive rate. So you can see how the number of elements that we are using has increased here over time. And today, these elements and the raw materials sector in general is vitally important for Europe to meet its commitment to become more sustainable, to decarbonize, and to become finally carbon neutral. So we need raw materials for solar panels, for wind energy, for electric vehicles and electrification in general. And of course, we also need raw materials for digitalization and to create a new digital and more efficient economy, making use of all the opportunities which digitalization offers us. But this means that we have a challenge ahead of us, because in terms of the number and amount of raw materials needed for this new green economy, they are much higher than in the conventional fossil fuel-driven economy. And on this graph, you can see the types and quantities of raw materials needed for an electric car versus a conventional car, or the types and quantities of raw materials needed for offshore and onshore wind, solar, or nuclear compared to coal or gas. So this is a real challenge ahead of us for Europe. And another challenge, this is a little old, this graph, but you can see that the recycling rate of many of these important raw materials is far too low. Okay, we really need to improve the recycling of the materials that we are using. And this is where AMIR comes in. This is why we created this master's program together with the universities, which you will hear about shortly. Of course, EIT Raw Materials Master School doesn't only have AMIR. There are a number of other master's programs that you can see on the screen here, and they cover universities all over Europe. One thing that all of these programs have in common is that they hold the EIT label. Oops, I'm not going to show you the video right now, but the EIT label is a quality seal for education programs, and it basically demonstrates that together with the technical knowledge that you study and learn during your master's program, you will also learn innovation and entrepreneurship skills that will be needed in order to drive the innovations and changes in the industry that we need. You will study internationally in at least 2 different European countries, but learning, studying and being assessed in English. You will have the opportunity to connect with industry, because industry makes up, as I mentioned earlier, a part of the EIT. You will have the opportunity to take part in a lot of extracurricular additional activities, which you will hear about shortly, I am sure. And you will become part of our EIT Raw Materials Network, which is made up of over 370 different partners from industry, universities, and from research organizations. Again, you will hear a little bit more about how you can connect with these organizations during your master's program in a little bit. So I hope I didn't take up too much time, Sophie and colleagues. So I will pass over to you now that you can get into the most important information about AMIR and the program itself. Thank you. Stop sharing.
Thank you, Ferdi.
There we go.
Okay, can you see my slide? Yeah, okay, perfect. So welcome everyone. I am Sophie Coudray. I am the AMIR, EIT AMIR Master Program project manager. And I will I will give you a short introduction, presentation of the AMIR Master Program. Please do not hesitate to interrupt me if you have a question during my presentation. So today I will present some fact sheet about the master and also the program structure, the fields and scholarships opportunities, life after AMIR, and some information about the application for the AMIR Master Program. Okay, so what is the AMIR Master Program? So as Ferdi said, it's EIT-labelled Master Program, and it's a world-leading program in the field of material recycling. And it's aimed to educate students to become a highly skilled professional with expertise in a variety of raw material field, and to install a deep entrepreneurial mindset. It's a consortium of 6 leading European universities. So it's with the University of Bordeaux that coordinate this master program, University of Nova in Portugal, then in the University of Miskolc in Hungary, University of Liège, University of Technical University of Darmstadt, and then the Technical University of Madrid. So it's a 2 years program that provides 120 ECTS, and it's a program in English. All courses are in English, and the requirement to be part of this program is to have a bachelor degree in engineering and environmental science with advanced knowledge in chemistry. In chemistry or physical chemistry and material science. How the program is organized. So for the first year of the master, you will have the choice to study in Lisbon, in Bordeaux, or in Miskolc. And so the first year, it's about general and technical aspects of the raw material value chain, such as general chemistry, material science, and as well on sustainability, innovation, and entrepreneurship. And then the second year is for the specialization. So you can choose between Darmstadt, who is with the specialization of material design for recycling, or the University of Liège, specialized in metallurgy and metal recycling, or the University of Madrid, with the specialization of mineral recycling for construction and other sectors. So that's for the third semester, and on the fourth semester, you will also have a industrial internship also, in the master thesis also. And about the fees and scholarships, so with the AMIR master program, there is 2 scholarship opportunities. So there is the Erasmus Mundus scholarship. So it's up to 1,040 euro per month for the 2 years of the program. And it can be used to cover all costs during the master program, such as accommodation, travel, and etc. There is also EIT-labelled scholarships. So it's for the 2 years of the master, and it's 13,500 euro for the duration of the program. And it also can be used for all the cost of like accommodation, travel cost, etc. And about the annual program fees for AMIR EIT grant holders, the fee is 4,000 euro per year for non-European students. And for AMIR EM grant holders, students do not have to pay those fees. And just a word about life after the AMIR master program. So graduates will be fully equipped to take on professional role on recycling sectors such as material design, process optimization, plant administration, or project administration. But they will also obtain the skills and knowledge to set up their own company or startup. And finally, also they can apply for PhD program in Europe or in those places. And yeah, to give you also some information about the application process and calendar. So for this year, there is 2 two application calendar. The first one is for Erasmus Mundus program and scholarship for next year edition. So this application is open now until 17th of February. And the application for EIT-labelled program and scholarship will be open from the 20th of March until 21st of April. And yeah, you have all the information on the website. And for the application, we use a specific application platform that you can find the link on our website. And yeah, I list here the required documents for application. Everything is on the website, and if needed, we can come back on the slides if there is some question, or well, I'm maybe not gonna present all the details. And yeah, well, so this master program is coordinated by Guido Sonnemann, who is a full professor for sustainable chemistry at the University of Bordeaux. And Sophie, me and Marta, we are the coordination team. And so you can contact us at the email address amirmaster@u to Bordeaux and FR. And also you have the website, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And yeah, so please contact us if you have any question now during this webinar or even after. And thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Sophie. So let's, if anybody has a question for Sophie, then or for me, then you please do raise your hand or type it in the chat. But in the meantime, perhaps let's go on to our students now. So Thomas, maybe would you mind telling us a little bit about your AMIR pathway and what you were studying and why you chose the program?
Yes, of course. So I'm currently in my first year in the University of Bordeaux. I'm actually from Belgium. I already obtained a master's degree in environmental technology back in Belgium, but I felt a little short on the topic that was really interesting for me, and this is recycling. In my previous degree, I learned a lot about how to tackle environmental pollution, but never how to avoid the environmental pollution. And that's where the AMIR program came into the picture, because it really develops your a program where you focus on two things. It's on the first part is material design, where you focus on products that are easy to recycle and much easier to use in a circular economy. And then secondly, when those products have to be recycled, we also focus on this part. Actually, so for Bordeaux, I just did my first semester. We focus here a lot on the chemistry, so that's quite an important part. Also, for people with a less background in chemistry, it could be hard. It's not impossible. There are many students in our group from metallurgical backgrounds, from physics, and they keep up with the chemistry, but it's hard. You will have to work for it. Now, the thing that attracted me the most to this program is the many opportunities to do internships. Currently, I'm working on an internship. It's 2 months here in Bordeaux. Also, next year, when you, together with your master thesis, you have the opportunity to work in a company. And that was something that was really interesting to me. And the last thing that made this program very attractive to me was the many extracurricular activities during the year, but also during the holidays. Actually, in August and in July, we have possibilities to go around Europe, meet companies, meet students from other universities and other courses, and this is really attractive program.
Thank you, Thomas. Very enlightening. And maybe shall we move to Gabrielle. Thomas mentioned some of the extracurricular activities, and I think you're in your second year, maybe you've been a bit more involved, but maybe you want to tell people about your study pathway as well and some of the activities you've been involved in. That would be great.
Sure, thank you very much. Yeah, well, Thomas described very, very well a lot of things that I wanted to say, but yeah, mainly I also did my first year in Bordeaux and second year in Darmstadt in Germany. And yeah, actually it was a very enriching experience. As all our expositors were mentioning today, the great opportunity of being a EIT-labelled student allows you to have this very good contact with all the industries, the partners that the EIT has. And also the whole experience is very enriching for having this networking with people from all over the world. And yeah, not just the academic experience, that it's a very good quality education, but also the intercultural experience that you have. For me, I could add maybe that was quite challenging, but at the same time very grateful to have this opportunity to face the language experience and to practice and to get into language learning. So in my case, French and German. And yeah, it is a very well recognized. I could talk about all the opportunities, and as Thomas was mentioning, doing internships is a very well recognized master. It has a very good background for also your future activities. I could include also this entrepreneurial focus that really allows you to have some great opportunities in this field. So yeah, I would suggest you to apply, to go for it. And yeah, I am open to any questions. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Gabrielle. We have a couple of questions already. So maybe Sophie, there's a question from Modestus. He would like to know, when applying for the Erasmus Mundus scholarship, you've written a SINREM program, Modestus, but this is the AMIR program. So let's assume that you are talking about this. From Nigeria, is it possible to submit our applications while we wait for the English proficiency test results? What if the application closes before the results arrive, and can we be eligible for admission? I think this is quite a common question. So Sophie, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, for Erasmus Mundus application, it's clearly a plus for your application if you can provide English certificate. But if you are not, if it's not possible, you still can apply, and you can send us your English certificate by email, even if the application deadline. Let me see if the application is closed, and we will add that to your profile.
Thank you, Sophie. Does that help, Modestus?
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, excellent. And then we have a question from Malkit. Malkit, you have completed a master's degree in geology. Is geology a suitable background for the AMIR program, Sophie?
I think it's, yeah, it had been mentioned, you need to have a strong background in chemistry. So you can apply with a bachelor degree in geology. And also, you know, your profile will be evaluated based on your motivation and based on other criteria. But yeah, you can apply, but it's maybe you will need to justify a certain background in chemistry to be sure that you have the level for the AMIR master program.
Yeah, thanks, Sophie. And I've just put in the chat, Malkit, the link where you can see actually the full range of master's programs, because if you want to continue studying specifically in the field of geology, then you might be interested in one of the other programs, for example, the RAMIS program, which is about mineral exploration, or the Emerald program. And you can see information on both of those on the web link that I've just put in the chat. So maybe have a look at those as well.
Yeah, maybe you can also look at the detail of the course provided by AMIR at each partner. It's on our website on the program, so that you have the detail of the course, so that you can see if it's good for you, if it's
Okay, thank you, Sophie. Does anybody else have any questions? Please do post in the chat, or even better, raise your hand and speak to us directly. We won't bite. It's not possible over the screen anyway. So whilst we wait and see if you have any more questions, maybe oh no, do we have?
Yeah, I think there isn't one.
Yeah.
On the minimum GPA required for acceptance into the program.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
So as I say, it's more about the different document that you can provide on your application, and so evaluator will look at your academic background, motivation, English level. So there is no minimum GPA. Everyone can apply, but for sure there is several criteria that the evaluator will look at.
Yeah, thank you. And of course, GPA's calculation of GPA really varies a lot by country and by university, so it's not possible to give one specific minimum GPA. Of course, the better your GPA, this will also assist your chances. Okay, let's go to Mohammed, because I think he's going to ask a question in person. So please go ahead, Mohammed.
Yeah, I just want to know that if we are not availing the Erasmus Mundus scholarship, every others will get the EIT-labelled scholarship, like everyone else.
It's two different applications. So you need to apply for the Erasmus Mundus scholarship. And for EIT, you also need to apply for EIT. It's not like you apply to Erasmus Mundus and you are not selected for Erasmus Mundus, but you are on top of the list. So you have the right for EIT. You need to apply.
So I have to do 2 applications in 2 timelines.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. And then a question from Junaid. Most of the alumni suggest to have a 1 publication at least. Is it necessary to have a publication to apply? Does that help?
It's not required. And then, it can be for sure a plus for your profile, but it's not something we ask for. It's linked to your academic background and work experience and research experience.
Indeed. Thank you. We have so there was another question from Modestus about getting contact. So you will see below this question from Modestus, there is a link in the chat where you will be able to get in touch with our AMIR ambassadors, which is not only Sophie, but also students. So when you have questions, please use this Unibuddy platform to get in contact. Do bear in mind that you cannot necessarily expect immediate replies, because of course people have other things to do as well as to reply to questions, but they will get back to you. I'm also there, so we will get back to you. Just use this Unibuddy platform to ask your questions about your application later. But of course, any questions that you can think of now, that's even better, because then we can all hear the answers together.
Yeah, and in that point, please, Ferdy, I just would like to add that this has been very helpful in my case. For example, this Unibody platform has helped me a lot with a lot of doubts. So feel free to contact them, to all of them, even if they are from other programs, they could have some insights. For example, if they are from your countries, they could help you with some guidance regarding the visa process or this kind of stuff. This has been very, very helpful for me. So you could feel free to use it. They are for you.
And also, another way is LinkedIn is a very useful platform to contact AMIR students as well. You can find a lot of them on LinkedIn.
Yeah, great point. Thank you, Gabriel and Thomas. Yes. So please use the Unibody platform. There is not a WhatsApp contact, but there is a Unibody contact for you to choose from different people to contact.
And also not to contact alumni, but to contact the coordination team, Unibody, or our email address. We especially like during application time, we do our best to be reactive.
So yeah, for anything important, make sure you use the email address. Okay. Marquita has another question. If we have completed the course in English, then why English proficiency certificate? IELTS and TOEFL is a must. Yeah, Sophie, do you want to comment on this?
Yeah, maybe for Erasmus Mundus application, English certificate is really required. And for EIT application, it's for sure a plus, but we have a bit more flexibility, and it's also a way for you to justify your level of English, as it will be something that will be evaluate also on your application.
So as part of the application, is there an interview?
There is two steps of the application. The first one is the evaluation of each candidate based on like academic background, a level of English, motivation, professional project, and for those who are selected, they need to have more than 5 out of 10 to be able to go to the second step of the evaluation process, which is an invitation for interview. Yeah. Thanks.
And I guess the prospective students here might be interested to hear a little bit about the interview. What kind, just in general, what kind of experience was it? Maybe Thomas, do you want to say a couple of words about your interview experience if you had one?
Yes, I had an interview with Professor Sonneman, so the coordinator here in Bordeaux. It's actually a very open interview. You can talk about yourself. It's important to stress why you're interested in the program and why you think you can learn and can grow in this program, especially when you already had a background, when you already worked for a couple of years, or you already had a master's degree, like in my example. Then it's important to really have an idea why you want to do this extra master.
Yeah, great point. Thank you, Thomas. And we have another question actually from Mohammed. Will internships in polymer industries add to the profile value? I guess, Mohammed, are you saying that you already had an internship in a polymer industry? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So Sophie, do you want to answer that question?
Oh, I will just add that, you have the required document on the application, but then you are free to add any other document that are relevant for your application to the AMIR Master Program. And I will really, you are really invited to add other document that could be plus for your profile, for sure.
Yeah. In this point, I just would like to add that, and also I was receiving a question before about the motivation letter. I would just like to connect this question, because actually if you have some experience, some internship, you could explain it how it is related to your interest in the master. So you could put it in your motivation letter, like connecting your previous experience, your previous internship on what you would like to do in the master. So I think that it is very good also to include it there in the motivation letter.
Yeah, thank you, Gabriel. And I think that's something also to bear in mind about in not only AMIR, but all of the EIT-labelled programs from raw materials, is that we are looking for students who have an entrepreneurial mindset, or who can develop an entrepreneurial mindset. So if you can demonstrate through your activities that you are interested in innovation, you are interested in entrepreneurship, this is a good bonus. So if you've done an internship and you were involved in some kind of innovation, that's a good example, even if it's not directly connected to what you will study on AMIR. And of course, you will also have the opportunity to do an internship as part of your studies. Gabriel, have you done an internship as part of your studies, or will you do one?
Yes, sure. Actually, well, before joining AMIR program, I was already working and having some years of experience, so this also helped me. But during the entire program, I was having the opportunity to have you have the mandatory internship in the first year, in the second year, and I even have the chance to do a summer internship. That is also a very nice opportunity for developing some other skills in the area that you could. It's the very nice, very enriching opportunity that the master brings you.
Do you want to tell us a little about what internships you did exactly, who you were doing it with?
Yeah, sure. First year, well, in Bordeaux, I was working in zinc oxide, in some doping for improving some properties, some optical properties on ICMCV in Bordeaux. And even at that point, it was a bit difficult because we were facing just a COVID situation and all these kind of things, but all the people get the coordination that we could get into Bordeaux. And precisely, we started with our internship first year. So the first months we were working virtually, but then I worked in this, and then summer I had the opportunity to contact Professor Sonneman to work with him in an LCA study. So it was a different thing, but I was interested also in that topic. And later on, for my final internship, I came back again to Bordeaux because I received an opportunity to work also in a different topic that it was related to the production of CO2 using methanogens, so more into the microbiology topic. So as you see, there are a very wide range of topics that the master allows you to go in. So I consider this a very good advantage.
Thanks, Gabriel. And besides the internship, so you were going to having internships in different places, but I guess something to bear in mind about studying on AMIR or indeed the other EIT-labelled programs is that you would be moving country not just once, but maybe twice, maybe even 3 times. So there's quite a lot of organization to go with that, moving country. Maybe Thomas, do you have any thoughts on your experience of moving country, and was it difficult? Was there any tips you would give to somebody else who would be doing that as well?
For me, since I come from Belgium to France, it was quite easily. I didn't have the problems with the visa that some students encountered. But eventually everything was solved. All students got here. Some of them a few weeks after that the course is already started, but that was not a problem. Teachers are really helpful to help you on the right track, and also your peer students will help you to get your notes from other classes. One of the things that is because you study in big cities like Bordeaux, Lisbon, Madrid, and some of those cities can have some problems with accommodation. Sometimes difficult to find an accommodation, especially when your budget is quite low, because prices are really high in the current market. But since we have the scholarship, this helps you a lot. But I would advise, as soon as you know you're allowed to the program, that you start looking for accommodation, because that was the hardest problem for me.
Maybe if maybe also you can have help from the international office at each partner's university to find student accommodation or private accommodation. At least some tips and this kind of stuff.
Yes, exactly. I will add also that the international office of even from University of Bordeaux, and in my case from Darmstadt, TU Darmstadt, they were very helpful in giving a lot of tips, and like they are keeping track that you are already arrived, that you have your accommodation already set it up and everything. So yeah, they are very, very supportive in that sense. For me as well, it was very difficult in Bordeaux to find a place, and later on in Germany. But yeah, as Thomas said, you just really get accustomed to do things in advance, and you will be fine.
Good advice.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Gabriel. And I suppose some people might be wondering also about the visa process. I guess, Gabriel, you had to apply for a visa before you came, is that right? And how did you find the process?
Yeah, exactly. In my case, I needed to apply back. I was back in my country in Ecuador, and it was COVID time, so it was a bit difficult. We had all this uncertainty that the process will go on correctly, but yeah, I needed, in my case, for example, to buy the tickets in advance, to get the accommodation, the proof that I already have the accommodation, the acceptation letter, and all these requirements. But then everything worked out, and just needed to do the things in advance as much as possible, and then everything worked out. And even now, I still need, like, for example, every year to renew my residence permit. These kind of things are also concerns, but once you are already set in a specific country, you get accustomed of how the bureaucracy work, and there are a lot of people that will be aiming to help you in these affairs.
Thanks, Gabriel. Well, we have another question from Moses. Thanks, Moses, for joining us. Great to have you here. So Moses is wondering if a bachelor's degree in physics is an appropriate background. Sophie.
Yeah, I will say that the master program require academic background in chemistry. But you can apply, and also you can also check out the program of the AMIR master program, so that you will find the detail of the course provided by AMIR, so that you can see if it's it match with your need and expectation.
Thanks.
To come back to that, we have currently a student in Bordeaux who has a background of physics, so he had to work on our chemistry, but it's perfectly possible.
Yeah, and also because it's also your academic background, but also your motivation that will be evaluated for the application. So We don't look only at the bachelor degree. It's one of the criteria, but yeah.
Thank you very much. So please, dear participants, do feel free to ask any more questions that you might have. Please don't be shy. We still have some time. But whilst you think of your questions, maybe some of you might be wondering, especially if you were to get the EIT raw materials grant, AFSA grant of 13,500 euros. Is this going to be enough to live on, or are you going to need more money? Remember that in this case, you also need to pay your tuition fees, which are, I think, 4,000 euros per year for international students. So maybe Thomas or Gabriel, can you give us any thoughts on the cost of living in these cities? How many euros per month do you think you need to live on? And are there any opportunities to earn money outside of your studies, or is that too difficult?
Would you like to start, Thomas, or should I? Okay, I could go. Yeah. Well, yeah, that was also a thing that I was thinking about when I just started the program. If the money will be enough, but yeah, actually the things work out very well, I will say, especially in France. Well, in general in France and in Bordeaux, there are a lot of help from the government. There is this association cruise that you probably already heard about it. So you could get very convenient accommodation, and you could even have some housing help. Also, the insurance is free, the health insurance. So this is a very good help for your saving money, and yeah, and in the summer you could work also, as I was saying, for example, in an internship, so related to the master, or even in any other activity. You are allowed to work at least 20 hours a week, if I'm not wrong, with the student status. So if you administrate your money very well, you're very safe there. And yeah, the more or less the expenses that you're having monthly. So if you get a good accommodation within this cruise system, I will say that you are safe, maybe with around 500, even less each month in Bordeaux. Then in Germany, well, this is another topic, but more or less it will be the same amount of money. Depends on the city, of course. But yeah, this so far. I don't know if you would like to add also something else, Thomas, or how was your experience?
No, it's correct. I chose to live in the center of Bordeaux, which makes the price much higher, of course. So for me, the price and the cost of monthly living is a little higher. But like you said, you have many possibilities to stay on campus in the Bordeaux in the cruise residences, which has really affordable rent. Secondly, you can also in Bordeaux, I know you can apply for something that's called CAF. It's from the government. That gets you another, like I think it's for me it's 166 euros per month. So that's nice. But you have to keep in mind, if you have the Erasmus Mundus scholarship, you get 1,400 per month. But sometimes you will have problems to apply to the cruise residences, because they see that you can afford living somewhere else, and they give priority to people with lower scholarships or no scholarships. But there is someone with the Erasmus Mundus scholarship in a cruise residence right now, but he got admitted later when all the students already applied and there were rooms left. Then those students get the opportunity.
Okay, thanks, Thomas. And of course, there are other universities in other countries. So if you're looking at Miskolc in Hungary, that is likely to be, I would say, a cheaper place to live overall than France or Germany. And maybe also Portugal would be a cheaper place overall to live in terms of your daily living expenses and the cost of food and this kind of thing. So also maybe you want to think about the different locations and how much they're likely to cost you when you're thinking about where you want to study. So does anybody else have any more questions for our students? Take advantage because this is one opportunity that you have to ask, and you've joined the live session, so it would be great to hear any more questions from anybody. So please do raise your hand or type into the chat. Maybe whilst we wait for you to think of your questions, Gabrielle, do you want to tell us a little bit about the RACE summer school, which is offered every year for students on the labelled programs, and your experience on that?
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much for bringing this. Actually, I forgot to mention it before, but yeah, as part of the extra activities, the extracurricular activities that are included within these EIT programs, I think that yeah, this RACE is the most relevant one, and for me it was a very nice opportunity to be taken into account to participate this last summer. So we were traveling, in this case, around Sweden and Finland, and we had the opportunity to visit some companies and to have some networking and a huge learning in all this route, 2 weeks traveling. And yeah, it was very nice that it came back to this person modality, because before it was online because of COVID. And it was a very richful experience. We had the chance to get to meet a lot of people from other masters, to have this great learning and also this intercultural experience. And yeah, this is a great opportunity that is open for all EIT programs. And also, apart from that, there are some smaller events like the startup label up and other activities that usually are organized especially for EIT students. So this is also a great benefit of being part of one of these programs. I would really suggest you to participate.
Thanks, Gabrielle. And yeah, just to mention, so these EIT raw materials, additional extracurricular activities, they are for students on all of the now 9 different programs. So this is also a great opportunity to meet with and network with people who are studying perhaps slightly different parts of the raw materials value chain. So maybe areas more around mining or geological exploration or mineral processing, for example, and you can make connections and work on challenges together and bring in your different areas of knowledge to form solutions together to challenges. So this is a really nice kind of introduction as well to the world of work, where you will of course be working with people from different academic backgrounds and different specialties and bringing together your different areas of knowledge and skills. So we have some more questions. Malkit is asking, where do we head after the program, if we have any placements? So I think maybe Gabrielle, now you're coming towards the end of your program, do you have any plans? Do you see what people are doing towards the end of their program? What comes next, do you think?
Yeah, sure, gladly. Well, actually, I already finished my program just some months ago, but yeah, yeah, for sure, I was having also this kind of questions and I think that all the people that are enrolling in this program. And in my case, in my experience, I will say that at the beginning, I was actually thinking about coming back immediately to my country, because my original idea was to set up to configure to accumulate all the majority of knowledge possible to apply it in a company that I would like to create in my country related to recycling. But so far as I was experiencing here, and I get to meet all the people that are working in these very important projects, in these very innovative technologies, I got really interested, and I realized that there are a lot of opportunities, either for going for a job or for going for a PhD, or even for the entrepreneurial field. So in my very personal case, I was first at the beginning thinking about coming back, but then I got to see all the opportunities, and I tried to look for a job, but then I got some offers for PhD, and I am actually just starting a PhD position here in Germany in another city. And I will say that, as I was mentioning before, that the master is very well recognized. You have a very good background that allows you to go for a PhD, especially, but also for working and for entrepreneurial opportunities as EIT Jumpstarter, in which I have had the opportunity also to participate. And yeah, so it presents you a very wide range of opportunities that you could go for. And in my classmates, for example, also a lot of them are following through PhDs in different countries, in different fields, working, for example, on batteries, working on LCA, working on new materials. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunities in this sense. I would say that the majority of them still roaming around Europe, working in some innovative projects.
Thanks, Gabriel. And I should add that we also have a program, especially for students on labeled master's programs who are interested in creating a startup. This is called Lab to Market. It's a new program that is just launching at the moment. So if either during your studies or after you've finished, you really want some support, both in terms of mentoring and training, and also in terms of financial support to create your own business in the raw materials field, then that's something that the support is there for. So that's something you can also bear in mind, and you would learn a lot more about during your studies, and get a lot more insight into the entrepreneurship route. So we're pretty much out of time, but we just have a couple more questions that we can answer before we end. So the question from Junior is a bit similar to a previous question. He wants to know if he can use the attestation of bilingualism given by his school as the English proficiency. And also Moses, who says he doesn't have an English certificate, but he did an English test on the platform of the National Language Institute of Luxembourg, and got a B2. So again, I think these are similar questions to some that we had earlier. Sophie, do you want to comment again on this?
Yeah, just those English certificates required for the application, and it's for sure like a plus for your application and profile, and especially for Erasmus Mundus. I think we'll be very strict on that. But if you can't provide official English certificate, then you can provide any other relevant document, and you still can apply. But for sure, as it will be the English level will be criteria for evaluation. It's something you need to be aware of, but you can apply for sure.
Thanks, Sophie. So yeah, overall, I think if you are wanting to apply to Erasmus Mundus program and scholarship, then please do your very best to get an official IELTS or TOEFL, etc. This will help your application for the Erasmus Mundus. But if you have some alternative qualification for the EIT raw materials scholarship route, then that may also be sufficient. And of course, in your interview, people will also be listening to the quality of your English as well. Good. So unless anybody has more questions, I think we have come to the end of our time. Is there anything, anybody else, Marta, Thomas, Gabrielle, Sophie, anything else you would like to add before we say goodbye?
From
No.
me, I don't have anything to add. Anyway, I think that everyone, if they follow us on LinkedIn, they knows that if they have any other question, there is another webinar for Erasmus Mundus on Friday. So this webinar was really for the EIT program. Anyway, we're also every time pleased to hear some question for the other program, the Erasmus Mundus. But anyway, you also have our email address where you can send us all your questions. And I thanks everyone for this great webinar. It was really interesting to hear about the EIT program, and I think that you gave a lot of answers to all the candidates. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Marta. And if you happen to have the link for people to sign up to Friday's webinar, then do drop it in the chat in case anybody here would like to join.
Of course.
That would be great.
Of course.
Gabrielle, Thomas, anything else to add?
I was just watching that maybe Junaid has a question, if I'm not sure. Maybe he or she was trying to unmute, but could you please confirm? Junaid, sorry if I'm not pronouncing it well. Or maybe hesitate. There is another question on the chat as well.
Okay, we have another question from Malkeet. Well done, Malkeet. Is there any limit for the candidates to be selected for the program? Yes, Sophie.
Yes, we unfortunately we cannot welcome all students. So the number will depend on the quality of profile, but maybe like with Erasmus Mundus and EIT, I think we will be around 40 students maybe for next year. Yeah.
So maximum of around 40.
Around
students.
40 students, yeah.
Yeah, but of course not all in the same location.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Good.
I was wondering, actually, it's more a question to Sophie. Some people ask me this, what is the acceptance rate to the program usually? Or does this vary over the years?
As I say, there is two steps of the evaluation. So the first is, evaluation of the profile, and our own evaluator. Each candidate is evaluated up to 10. So to go to the second step of the evaluation, students need to have a minimum of 5 out of 10. And then they are invited to the interview. But I can give you like a minimum grade to apply for AMIR, because it's also depend on the education system of each university around the world. So it's very difficult to give an average grade, minimum grade.
Good. Okay, well, thank you everybody for taking part, and we hope to hear from you with any further questions you may have. Please do use the UniBuddy platform as we shared earlier. You can find the chat box also on the AMIR website, and we look forward to receiving your applications, and we hope that this was useful for you. Thank you to all of you who joined. Thank you especially to Sophie, Thomas and Gabrielle, and have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Nice to see you all.
Thank you.
All the best for your applications.
Good luck.
Take care. Bye.